who still has acne in their 30s? Me. Anyway, oh shit. Talking about Cherry. I was gonna record this review about like a couple days ago, but then the shit happened in Atlanta, and not very smart of my ass to just come on here and talk about a movie about a white man with a gun and stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, so Cherry, starring baby boy Tom Holland and directed by the Russo brothers, is a movie. It is a movie. Now I don't know the Russo brothers' work outside of what they have done with like within Marvel, and I've said this 1,000 times that the Winter Soldier is my favorite movie out of the entire MCU. Why am I so bright? Jesus, let me just. Oh, okay, there we go. Just had to scooch it on down a little. Yeah. Yeah, Winter Soldier is my favorite. Again, love what they did with Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, all that stuff. So I don't know their work outside of comic book action kind of shit. And this movie, like, has some action in it. It's got a lot of other things. Now, this movie's based on a book, and you know it's based on a book because there is a voiceover. It's not only just a voiceover, but Tom Holland's character breaks the fourth wall, looks at the camera, and, does that kind of stuff. Voiceover and, Ferris Bueller kind of shit. Which is fine. I also feel like, and I've said this a bunch of times about a lot of movies, this movie, they should have shaved off 20 minutes on this, because this movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes, and when I had hit play and I saw the time at the end, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't think I would have to sit here this long. This movie's also broken up in, I think, about 5 parts, some shit like that, like a chunk of parts. Now, kind of, I guess, backtracking on my word, but it's either do a full-length movie, cut off 20 minutes, or do, in a sense, a mini-series kind of thing. And they could have done, 4 parts, 3 parts, you know what I mean? And they all could have been, 45 minutes. I don't know, just, break it up or something, because there's so much happening. And again, when it comes to adapting a book, of course there's going to be a lot of things happening that want to keep you interested, lots of detail, blah, blah, blah. But it's also, it's a lot of, where are we going with this kind of shit? So, apparently this movie is about, PTSD and the opioid crisis, which it is, but it just comes off just so, it's just, it's like that, watching the movie, you're like, okay, because it starts off, it does, God, I don't know, again, I don't know if the book does this, but in the movie they practically did the whole, you're wondering how I got here, record scratch kind of moment, which I was like, oh, because he's already, robbing banks and stuff in the beginning, but that's the end. I hate when they do that. I hate when they do it. I hate it. We all hate when they do that, but they keep doing it. So it, goes, back to in the beginning, which I think it was, 2001. It's, pre-Obama era kind of thing where it starts, and then it ends where we're halfway, we're halfway through the Obama era kind of shit, just so we can understand the time frame. So it's it's robbing banks is what you gotta do, blah blah blah, don't, it's mostly ladies, just be nice. Okay, thanks honey. Anyway, then it's and I don't really know who cares about spoilers, because this movie is just, it's, it's just so it's him, he meets a girl and all that stuff, and then she's we're in love, and then she's I'm gonna go to Montreal, and he's what? And she's I'm gonna go to Montreal, I just want to go, blah, blah. Okay. And then him doing an irrational thing, and being well, she's leaving, I need to do something, I'm gonna leave too, because I'm heartbroken, so I'm gonna sign up for the army. Like you do when you're heartbroken. I don't know, I guess. And then, of course, I guess it's their last time seeing each other. she's like, actually, I'm not going to Montreal. And I'm just like, of course we're gonna have this thing of like, actually, I changed my mind and I'm not gonna go. And he's like, what? Like, he's like, I literally just signed my life away. Like, what? Girl. It's like, oh my god. So, so of course he's like, well, I'm gonna go because I signed up and I'm gonna head out to boot camp. And there's like such a huge chunk of him like in boot camp, and then him fighting overseas, and the face is so itchy. And the boot camp section is like shot very like Full Metal Jacket. You know, it's like Full Metal Jacket, but then also feels like Jarhead because of the voiceovers and shit. And also, God, I did not need to see Tom Holland jerking it in a porta-john. You know, it's like, I don't need to see that, honey. Put your dick away. Oh, I also love that in that scene, he's like, I was just only thinking of her. Oh, okay. That's great. You're faithful, you're jerking it, you're like, I was only thinking of her. That's nice, honey. Put the dick away. Like, I was like, look at that, I'm like, oh. It's because it's like, I'm so much older than him, and I'm just like, oh my god. Oh. I'm like, am I gonna be on the list looking at, wait, how old is Tom Holland? Okay. He's of age, but still, okay. Like, I feel like I'm gonna be on a list. Like, shouldn't be seeing this stuff. Please, honey, put the dick away. So, like, so yeah, it's like, it just goes into, like, Full Metal Jacket, like, Jarhead kind of stuff, and you're like, okay. And then it's like, okay, full, I guess you would say, kind of Jarhead thing, or, oh, his character also signs up to be, like, a field medic, because I guess when you're a medic, you know, Geneva Convention, you shouldn't be shot at kind of stuff, fine. But then, of course, there's the part where it's like, here comes, like, the Russo brothers doing what they're really good at, which is the action shit. So it's like, gunfight, guy with, like, guts spilling out, and they literally just shove it, like, just shove the guts back in, you know, just like a plunger, you know, shove it back in. All right, get him in the helicopter. You know, that's like, oh, this is getting exciting. Thank you, Russo brothers. But then it's just like, okay. Then it's like, you know, going back home, it's like, oh, this is where, like, the real story happens. Now, like, that's what I'm saying, where it's like, there's some parts that could have been, like, cut out, shortened, or, again, if you're going to do it in a sense of, like, a miniseries, expand upon. But anyway, so he goes home, and then, because he's already, like, on Xanax, you know, to begin with, which, you know, so as most people should be on, but anyway, he's on Xanax, all that stuff, and his girl, also, like, God, what privilege, because his girl is, like, writing him from home, and she's like, oh my god, like, we're together. Oh, they also, like, married, you know, like you do, before, you know, he went off. But anyway, she's like, oh my god, my parents got us a home. I'm like, oh, what privilege. Like, what? That's great, you white people. You have that ability to do that, you know. And how old are you guys? 23. Okay. 23, you got your own home. You know, I'm just sitting here like, even in that economy, even that, because it was like during the worst part with the economy, but fine. Anywho, so he gets home, you know, they have a home together, because privilege, all that stuff. And so then, you know, he starts taking more meds, and then, you know, he kind of runs with, like, his friends again, and some of them, they're selling dope and all that shit. And this is where you do the thing that you're not supposed to do, which is get off on your own supply. You sell it, you don't get high on it, because then you're not selling anymore, and then you're not making money, and then you owe someone money, and then that's how a lot of these stories happen. So it's a lot of that of like, oh, you did all the drugs of the thing that you were supposed to be selling, and I owe the big guy the money. Oh my god, what are we gonna do? We're gonna rob banks, you know? And so, like, he starts getting fucking high as fuck. you know, they start robbing banks, but it's not even like excitement with the robbing banks. It's not like Den of Thieves, you know, you've got fucking Pablo Schreiber, you know, having to hold his shoulder, all that shit, like Gerard Butler all kind of drunken, like, I'm Gerard Butler, you know, you're like, oh man, this is, kind of want to know his backstory a little, you know, and anyway, it's not really exciting. It's just him, like, it's like you see in the trailer him slipping that dollar bill that says, like, I have a gun, that kind of shit. And also, like, with him with his head shaved and then with, like, the aviator sunglasses, Tom Holland looks a little bit like Chester Bennington, which, of course, was giving me different kind of feels where I was just like, oh my god, I miss you, Chester. I was just, like, having, like, a moment. Like, I had to just be like, I can't look at him because he reminds me of someone else. Like, I'm just, like, heartbroken. Anyway, so, so yeah, robbing banks, all that stuff. Then the girl, his wife, starts getting high. Because why not, right? You know, like, well, you're getting high and I see you, you know, going into the zone. Let me do that too. So then they start, like, you know, getting high together, because why not? When you're dope fiends, you know, stick together and all that shit. So they just start, it starts to go into Requiem for a Dream, like, because, like, why not? Why not mash a bunch of fucking movies together to make this movie based on a book that's based on someone's, I guess, real life? Sure. Anyway, but yeah, so she starts getting high and things start going really, really south and all that stuff. And I'm just sitting here going, there is how much longer in this movie left, you know? Oh, man. And then also, like, Tom Holland does a good job. Like, he's really trying to be a serious actor because, of course, most of us know him as Spider-Man, you know? Like, he even did that Netflix movie with the devil all the time and stuff, which was, like, he did fine, and the movie was just kind of there, you know? He did fine, but at the same time, like, the scene he played opposite of Robert Pattinson, who was definitely not taking it seriously, which was great, because it's, like, a bunch of Brits playing Americans, which was great, because also, like, well, Bill Skarsgård is Swedish, but you get what I mean. Like, non-Americans playing Americans, and so, freaking Tom Holland is like, I'm Southern, this is my Southern accent, and then Robert Pattinson's like, the lies you're told, this is my accent. And I'm just like, I can't wait to see you as Batman. I'm so excited to see you as Batman. The lie. Oh my god. Anyway, the boy is doing what he can. You know, everyone in the movie is actually not bad in their roles. It's just the story itself. It's just, I just don't care, you know? And it's also, yeah, it sucks. You got high and you fucked up your life. But I don't know, maybe it's just me being so American and so desensitized to this that I'm just kind of like, well, you know, I mean, you know, like, I was on morphine for some time. I didn't get addicted. Then again, like, I'm not that kind of, I don't know, maybe it's like a personality thing. Like, I even told people, I'm like, I see why people get, like, addicted to morphine, because I was on it. That shit helped, because I was in horrible pain. But outside of it, I don't see myself ever just being like, let me have a little morphine, you know, like, that shit, like, hit me, and I was like, it's literally, like, oh, I was also in a lot of pain, so it wasn't like a thing of, like, you know, if, you know, like, it's kind of funny, but it's like, you know, they, like, injected me, and I'd be like, like, totally like, the heroin high O face, like, it is true, like, you really, it goes in, and you really just kind of, like, you know, because even, like, towards the end of the movie, there's a part where, like, Tom Holland, like, he gets caught, and he, like, shoots up one last time, and they, like, they fully, like, follow him, like, passing out, like, eyes rolling in the back of his head, passing out. Yeah, that does happen, because the first time, they were like, have you ever had morphine before? When I was in the ER, and I was like, no. They're like, you're gonna want to, like, lie back, because it's gonna hit you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm just, like, there, you know, they inject me, and I was like, oh, okay. And, like, you're like, oh. Just, like, just, like, a wash of just, like, pain relief, and also just gone. Like, gone. Fucking gone. And then the shit you see when you're on it, bitch. Oh my god. Like, oddly enough, I am mentally a lot better than I used to be, because I probably would have been launched into fucking Silent Hill and freaking the fuck out, you know? But anyway, about actually, like, about opioid addictions, which I do not have, even though my friends like to joke about it, because I'm like, you know, the purveyor of painkillers, because my body just likes to eat itself. But anyway, this movie, this movie is just like, if you're a fan of Tom, like, the only reason why I watched it is because I wanted to see, you know, like, Tom Holland, you know, like, stretch, you know, his acting chops, you know? Other than that, I probably wouldn't have given a shit, because everyone else in the movie, I'm like, who the fuck are you? Oh, you're the boyfriend from Midsommar. Okay, you know, like, it was just like, that's it. Oh, these bank robberies are going wrong. Okay, it's just like a movie that you watch people fuck up their lives, and then, like, and then well, let's get clean, you know, like, it's just, just, we all know a lot of people watch it because of Tom Holland. Like, that's it. And again, I don't know what the Russo brothers work outside of what they've done with Marvel, but, like, again, when they did the action stuff, it was great. Everything else was just kind of, it was fine. But at the same time, and I saw someone on Letterboxd point it out, maybe because it's, like, the brothers thing, but, like, you could see, like, there's certain shots, the way how it was shot, like, or where they would, like, the editing stuff too, where it'd be one way, it would be like, it's filmed like this, then it's like, let's crop it to square and look like an old-timey film, like, very much reminds me of, like, you know, early 2000s new metal videos kind of stuff, like, what's that band, they did a bunch of Linkin Park videos, like Brother Strauss, that kind of stuff, you know, where, like, these like, dudes would just, like, it would be like the same like 4 guys who would like direct music videos for like the new metal bands. Like, that, it just made me think of that during sometimes. Yeah, just, that was Cherry. Oh, why is it called Cherry? Apparently that's the name of the book, and I looked it up. It's apparently that's Tom Holland's character, even though his character has no name, because he's credited as Cherry, but like during his like army scenes, his name tag just says Soldier on it, because I remember I was like, wait a second, is his last name Soldier? Like, I had a moment while watching it, I had a pause, I was like, wait, is his last name Soldier? But it's like, no, like, everyone else has a name but him. Like, he is just, because everyone, even like the girl doesn't even like say like she just calls him like baby or whatever names, and everyone calls him dude or shit. No one ever addresses him by a name. Cherry. And I know the Snyder Cut is out, and I'll get to it in like a week or so, because I'm going down the list. So, yeah, anyway, blah, blah.